The dream life. Meeting the love of your life in a random interaction, getting married and producing specimen that waste your life for 18 years, seeing them grow up and eventually replicating what you have. This is the dream life for lots of people around the world. And you watching this, who do you have? You're lying there all lonely in your dim room with no one to share the time with. Put those grippers away. I can see they haven't been trimmed in a month. You haven't found someone while someone else is already setting up their dream life as we speak. And if this is you, no worries, because you'll fit in right in with 99% of Gen Z. I think Gen Z by far has the biggest gender split we've ever seen. Down from the way each gender thinks, feels about issues, approaches their problems. And there's a couple reasons why I think this is happening, and I'll first start off with echo chambers, defined by Google, is an environment or ecosystem in which participants encounter beliefs that amplify their pre-existing beliefs. And social media has been the worst proponent to this. Nowadays, I would say 3 out of 5 people are stuck in some type of echo chamber online. It's so easy to get swallowed up in it when the algorithm keeps feeding you stuff for it. And I don't even blame them. It's human nature to fall in line with it. We're communicative baboons at the end of the day that need communities. So obviously for the men's side, you got the rabbit hole of Andrew Tate and Fresh and Fit and all of them, seeing stories about how a woman divorced the dude and took all his money and then falsely accused him of something while he gets life in prison, and while she gets pounded every day in the house he used to own by some other dude. And then for the women's side, you got the rabbit hole of all those girly influencers telling them they're perfect, there's absolutely nothing wrong with them, and the only man you should ever consider is if he immediately kneels to his knees and gives you 100,000 on the spot. These type of stories make anybody mad. And then the replies are always gonna be like, this is why you can't trust insert appropriate gender. Everybody, man or woman, knows one person personally down one of these rabbit holes. I just be feeling so disappointed when my friends go down one of these. If it gets to the point where these stories are personally affecting the way you navigate life, you need to go touch some grass. Like my you're not gonna find some gold digger who's ready to sabotage your life. You work the 12 p.m. shift at Target. And you ladies aren't gonna find your Timothy Chalamet who's gonna run into the perfect time in your life and buy you everything you've ever wanted. Like, these are only 1% of scenarios for real. The problem is a lot of people can't really find a way to balance these echo chambers. Since social media is basically my job and I see these things all the time, I already know half these don't even exist in the real world. I'm not gonna run into some Andrew Tate ass casually in Walmart, and I'm not gonna run into a all men ass girl in the middle of the mall. But on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, or any platform, you're gonna run into 10 about every hour. I knew our generation was absolutely cooked when people started having gender arguments online. Should a man pay for dinner every time? Should a woman be doing all the house chores? Gay son or thought daughter? Looks like we got the questions mixed up. Sorry about that. And I'm gonna give you the true shocking answer that no one in humanity has ever said. And that answer is, it depends on the scenario. Scientists everywhere are scrambling on this new breaking discovery, making sure to put it in our history books. Like, these arguments be so stupid because a lot of times they're taking the most basic stereotypical scenario, but more often than not, a lot of people don't have the straight down forward formula. Like, for the question, should a man pay for dinner every time? We could be talking about someone like LeBron James, who trains 24/7 and makes 1,000x what his wife makes, while she helped raise their kids from birth and made sure they're good. In that case, it's an obvious, she's paying for it. Thought this was. Nah, but for real, people would even look at him weird for making her pay. But then we could be talking about 2 people who just graduated out of high school, freshly 18. Both of y'all are balancing a relationship with school while working at minimum wage job trying to pay off your debt. In that case, maybe it's better for y'all to split it, or someone pays one day and the other pays another. You know, because you're both not LeBron James and you'll never reach his gloriness. Nowadays, I can't even be asked to listen to these arguments. If I see one of these clips pop up on my TikTok, I swipe immediately and go on with my day. Another thing that's majorly splitting each gender up is politics. Before, no one really gave a about your political view, because who the wants to talk about politics? You know, we just trying to get it on, and now you want to bring up boring politics? My horniness is officially gone. But as the years have started to go on, politics has more and more deadass become a make or break for people's relationships. According to statistics, Gen Z women are more liberal and democratic, and Gen Z men are more conservative and Republican. Usually they say opposites attract, but this is definitely not one of those things. Like, whenever someone says whatever political party they support, people People assume the worst things they can come up with, and it's immediately like a deterrent. I definitely would not recommend talking politics with someone you're interested in at first. Like, that's an immediate red flag. If there's things that are at the top of the red flag list, that's gonna be at the highest point, especially if y'all don't think the same. You gotta build that connection first, or you're kind of f***ed off the jump. And in this last election, it's safe to say you had two people that couldn't be more far from each other.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
I would say for Gen Z women, if you took a random selection from the whole country, as in the United States, 8 out of 10 probably voted for Kamala this election. And for Gen Z men, 7 out of 10 probably voted for Trump. And because of how the election ended up, women started a movement on TikTok because they weren't happy with it, called the 4B movement. It's a movement that started in South Korea with women to protest how the men were running the government. And the 4B stand for no marriage with men, no childbirth, no dating, and no sex with men. I'm happy to say that none of these things affected me anyways. Now, I'm not surprised something like this would happen, especially after this election. Whether you want to admit it or not, this election affects women way more than men. The fact that this is happening is just showing how much we're split as a generation, though. Now, whether the movement will go somewhere or not, I don't know. I feel like if you're a part of it, you probably weren't gonna like some dude that voted for Trump in the first place anyways. But hey, do whatever your heart's content. I don't give a I also think the thing that's been changing is since there's so many more opportunities to do things now when you're younger, people are holding off way longer before getting married or having a kid. Because back in the good old days, the formula was simple. You graduated high school, got a decent job around the area, found someone you liked, and married them after 6 months and had a kid. I can't fathom that they were getting married right when they turned 18 and somehow managed to stay married the longest. Nowadays, if you get married, a divorce is pretty much guaranteed. And people always talk about how the birth rate is declining and how no one's having kids. Except in Africa, they be popping out babies just for fun. I'm not even joking. The top 10 countries with the highest birth rates are all African countries. But I really think it's going down for 3 reasons. Number 1 being that no one can afford a kid anymore. The whole population is paycheck to paycheck, and it's even worse when you're younger. Unless they make houses $50,000 again and a new spanking car $20,000, then I'ma hold off on it. They will be held in the sack. It's hilarious too because every government in the world is begging their citizens now to have more kids. But then when you ask them for some type of assistance to raise the kid, they go, "Oh great, so you had the kid. Wait, you want help from us to raise the kid?" Man, get the out of here. What did you think this was? Take your ugly ass baby with you. South Korea spent over $280 billion in 18 years to help with the problem, and it only went down even more. Another thing I hear people say is, why would they want to bring a kid into this cruel world? And I'm low-key with it too. We got enough problems to handle already, and it seems like they're not going to be done anytime soon. It seems like every day we're on the brink of a new war starting somewhere. The people leading every country right now are crash outs. We don't know what's gonna happen. My offsprings are safer kept with me for now until all things are solved. And the last reason is younger people are just waiting longer to have kids, which I don't see as a problem. I never understood why they rushed you to have a kid as soon as you left high school in the good old days. You don't even know what you want to do in life, so how are you going to be able to teach a kid what to do in life? Some people end up perfectly fine with raising a kid and working their way up, but a lot of times they sacrifice themselves pretty much to give their kid a better life. Another thing that's abysmal for this generation is dating apps. Before, dating apps weren't really a need, it was more of an addition for people. But nowadays in Gen Z, you pretty much need one of these if you want to have any chance. And the male versus female experience on these couldn't be any different. The people who make these apps have literally monopolized love. As a dude, if you're not the best looking model to grace Earth, then you're gonna need to buy one of their subscriptions to get at least a little notice. Tinder is by far the worst at it from my experience. Like on Tinder, you can't even see who liked your profile unless you buy their subscription. And it's literally pay to win. If you get their Tinder Platinum subscription, it will put you first before every other dude. So if you're just some regular schmegular dude who's average looking and doesn't have a subscription on these apps, you'll be lucky if you get a match a week. A match a month. And then when you do get that match, there's no guarantee she'll even respond to your ass. So you're throwing money at these companies for some coochie you probably not even gonna get. And then for the women's side, it's actually the opposite. They get so many matches, it's like, where do you even begin? I want every guy to watch a video on YouTube of someone catfishing as a girl. You could straight up look like Gorlock the Destroyer and you're still getting the max amount of likes. And a lot of times, even if it's not you, they just get the weirdest messages that throws them off. Like, I've seen my female friends who don't even have dating apps show me their DM requests. And man, I don't know who taught some of y'all Riz. The solution to this is simply going up to someone in real life, but who the f wants to do that? Now, these apps can work, and I have friends that have met someone on them, but a lot of times it really won't work out, especially if you want someone long term. So yeah, to wrap it up, I actually want to end off with a positive message and a one-for-all solution to fix this. Annihilate every podcast in existence. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, I love you guys consensually, and until next time, I'm out.